Hello, everybody. Welcome to Bill and Ammon's Bogus Hangout. Um, gonna let Terry start off and introduce himself. Terry?
Terry, Toronto, Ontario, land of the free, and masked.
Thomas?
Thomas Sickle, founder of Blueprint Marketing, currently in Nantucket, Massachusetts. I will be coming back, sadly, in a couple of weeks.
Ah, so I notice I've got a poster of a whale. It says Nantucket on it. Nantucket Trading Company.
This year is the first year they put permanent things of sharks, like big shark, beware of shark metal signs all over the beaches.
Do they have right by the sewers pictures of fish saying, watch out, the water drains into the ocean?
By the sewers?
Yeah.
Not that I've seen. Maybe somewhere. Watch out to the sewer. No.
The
for them, yeah.
Yeah.
I know they do.
They've got that by our sewers.
Yeah. No,
yeah.
I know that that is a function, but I haven't seen the signs yet. I've seen like a lot of signs for erosion, and since I've been coming here, for 30 years. There's like Surfside Beach, which is off Tom Nevers Field, is eroded by maybe 40 feet, maybe even more. It used to be wide enough that you could have two cars but on either side and have enough room for people on the beach. Now it's just one car at high tide. It's absolutely astonishing.
Are they trying to slow down traffic in the area?
On the beaches, they're very they're closing them off more and more cars.
We've got a Highway 101 here in Encinitas that used to be 2 lanes, and they're trying to switch it to 1 lane each way.
Oh, yeah. Well,
slow down traffic on the highway.
I think the fastest you can go on the entire island is about 40, and most roads are like 20 something. So, like I drive around with like 10 psi in my tires because I don't take them off the beach. But I think that during tourist season, when people just flood in, that they definitely want to keep, like, they enforce speed limits pretty strictly.
Is there a ferry that allows people to bring their cars to the
island? Yeah. There's the Eagle and the Nantucket go out of Woods Hole, and you can also take the fast ferry if you're just going by yourself, or you can take a plane if you're without a car. But to take your car, the Eagle and the Nantucket are I think you can go from Martha's Vineyard and other places, but Yarmouth, Woods Hole, you can take one of those. And it's it depends on when you buy your ticket, honestly. But if you buy it early, it's better, and you can bring your car and just drive on and drive right off. It's a lot of fun.
I remember we used to take the Staten Island ferry to go to New York.
Yeah.
When I was little. Yeah.
It's about a 2.5 hour ferry ride, and they won't go if it's real rough seas, but it's you're out in the middle of the ocean. As soon as you get out of sight of land, you're out there for quite a while.
Really?
And the food's not bad, but I've been out there once where the water was rough enough where I didn't want to eat. And you've got a lot of people just on deck and different parts. There's no assigned seating or anything. So sometimes I go back in the car if I have a car with me and try to sit. But I take the fast ferry if I don't.
I took a ferry from San Francisco to Sausalito too.
Oh wow, that must have been exciting. How long did that take?
It was about an hour, I think, or so.
Yeah, that like the Steamship Authority fast ferry is about an hour, and I don't know how fast it goes, but it's significantly faster than the bigger ships. And to fly on is about 25 minutes because I used to have a job where I had to fly on and fly off every morning. So I'd wake up at 6, take off in this pea soup. And one interesting thing, if anyone's been in Nantucket on an airplane, Cape Air, if you notice the planes, they'll let you sit right next to the pilot if you're the first guy on. But every plane is different. They have either analog, nothing, or digital in some part. And I'm like, is that thing important? They're like, yep. And sometimes they're missing entirely. So I don't know. And we take off right into pea soup at 6 a.m.
Oh, no. So,
Absolutely.
Terry,
Yep.
how does one rank for a product page at Google?
Okay. That one I read a bit back, so I know that John had some good insights.
Yeah.
And basically, I remember, yeah. Basically said what I did for my product pages, that linking them from one blog post ain't going to do much. You have to look for the good opportunities, link to them that way.
I'm seeing stuff about creating pages for events like Black Friday or Cyber Monday. Sort of like you remember the World Wide Web conference used to be www.1.com,
Right.
www.2.com next year. The third year, www.3.com. They were creating new sites for each conference. Instead of just having one page that you would keep on linking to that had the year.
Right.
Different subdomain.
Yeah, they had complete domains, new domains.
Weird.
It used to be www.1.com.
They didn't even link between the domains either.
No migration.
Stupider.
It's as if they had never heard of the web.
But they were doing web conferences.
They were doing web conferences. They were like the World Wide Web Consortium.
Yeah.
And that's
I
the
think
one.
the farthest I'd want to go is maybe put it on a subdomain.
That's the one that Tim Berners-Lee wrote. Cool URLs don't change.
And they changed the domain.
Unless they work for the www.
I have to say, like I've had a lot of luck with subfolders over subdomains. I know it's a debated topic, and Google says it's about equal, but I think for different systems, depends on what it is that you're doing.
It's if you're a site owner and you're responsible for promoting that site, getting links to it, and so on, you want the subdirectories instead of the subdomains. Because Google will treat a subdomain as if it's separate in terms of authority.
Exactly. Yep.
So it means you've got to do a lot more work with subdomains than you do with subdirectories.
Like a second site.
Yeah. And the reason why they promote the subdomains makes no sense. They say,
I think another. I just quickly looked at it, and one of the things that I thought John said that was pretty important was that you have to pick your targets more carefully when you're trying to do links from blogs to product pages. So in other words, because you'll probably need more links for it to actually move the needle, best to pick one product and do several posts around it and link to it.
I've seen suggestions that said make sure you do product feeds, because a product feed.
Yeah, I agree with that also.
So if you're creating iPhone pages and then you're creating iPhone accessory pages like chargers and things like that, you label them what they are, what categories they are. And then when somebody searches for iPhone accessories, they don't get a bunch of iPhone pages.
Like a topic cluster.
They just get the accessories.
They just get the accessories separate. Yeah. They get the thing they're looking for.
Because that is, accessories is actually a very general term.
Yeah.
But if you're looking under iPhones, it'd still be chargers, and it'd be.
Well, there's multiple
but what I'm saying is Google's paying attention to product feeds, and when you call something an accessory in a product feed, Google recognizes that, and when somebody does a search for iPhone accessories, Google shows them only the accessory pages. They don't show them the iPhone pages.
Right.
That makes sense.
And it's true with all types of products.
Right.
because the
but,
feed gives
I
them
don't think what you have in a product feed really helps the product page itself in ranking in organic results, does it?
It can help tell the difference between the types of things that are being categorized.
So it can remove confusion, then makes it a little more clear.
If you're optimizing iPhone pages and you tell the product feed this is an iPhone page, it's more
and
likely.
it's pointing at that page, they're going to see internally, and that's also their own. What do you call that? Topography? Yeah. Is that what you call that, Bill? In the product feed?
Their own hierarchy.
Hierarchy? Okay.
Yeah.
That makes sense too, because Google Shopping uses feeds like that to figure out everything. Yeah.
And we're at the point where with product sites like Amazon, they're using these product feeds to help identify what pages are about. And they're also you can use those product feeds to identify things, and you put pictures of the things. And when Google has somebody searching for similar products by picture, they'll use the product feeds to identify those things that are similar.
Right.
So you don't need to be buying ads to have product feeds. The product feeds can help you with the free search too.
In other words, it adds more than just revenue from the product feed.
Yeah.
That's why I suggest any store should put, no matter how small, put a product feed in as well. It's not that much work.
They should. And the tough part is categorizing everything, especially if you have a big site. You have something like an overstock with lots of different products, but you categorize everything well, and it helps the search engine find the things you're selling.
I worked with a site with over 1 million products.
Yeah.
Wow. Yeah, it gets very difficult.
I worked with the comparative site. I got contacted by somebody who owned a comparative site search engine, and they showed 7 products on the front page. They asked me at one point, they're trying to get me to be their SEO. They asked me at one point how good I think their SEO is. I said on a scale of 1 to 10, about 2. They said, why do you call it a 2? I said, you're selling horse liniment on the front page of a 7 million product website. Who the hell buys horse liniment?
That's not very good targeting.
No.
A $2 item.
That's they're taking their prime real estate and putting the least valuable.
Yeah. This is one of the most important, the top 7 most important things on your website. I don't want to buy from you.
Yeah.
If you're doing the SEO for your website, you're bad at it.
Yeah.
Don't understand the value of the real estate.
I can make you a lot more money than you think you would save by not hiring me.
Yeah, their SEO was terrible. I mean, that's one of your best products. That's one of the ones that's the most interested in. Everybody's interested in horse liniment.
Yeah, first.
I don't even know what that is.
Question that I would ask an e-commerce customer is, what are your highest margin items, and how much money does that make?
It's a pain relief type item. It's if you've got sore joints, sore limbs, you put this on, and it was originally built to do with horses. If
and
you
how many products did they have?
7 million.
So they could have put the most cutting edge, new, like highest revenue product on there.
Right. They could put like a $200, $300 TV that people would line up around the corner to buy from a Walmart.
Yep. Oh,
horse liniment. So
and the compare engine too. There would only be 3 or 4 liniments.
I'm so glad they asked me that, because I didn't want to work for them with shit like that.
I don't mind working for companies like that if they listen, if they fight on that stuff.
They got offended that I told them out of a 10, their
They asked.
SEO was a 2.
Oh, that's even, you want to hear something? Tell a client that they want first place and you say, no, you'll never get first place. Why? Look at all the links, blah, blah, blah. Well, you're trying to get first place for new Ford Taurus. What website do you think should be number 1 for Ford Taurus?
So this is issue number 300 of Bill Neyman's Bogus Hangout. And we got a congratulations.
Thank you.
300?
Yeah.
That's thank you, Kristen.
7 years, 6 and bit years worth.
It's quite an
One
accomplishment.
of the earliest versions of this show was Izusi conferences with and we just lost one of the people filming that. But yeah, it's been like 5-6 years. I think back to when you first started doing SEO and all the questions you had.
Wow.
Who
Yeah.
are you talking to? Not me.
I'm thinking back to my early days. I came across an SEO forum, and these guys were arguing over the perfect keyword density for a certain niche. And
Yeah, I had that right. No, I'm just kidding.
it's like I didn't say a word. I just backed out slowly.
Yeah. It's the nicest thing you could do.
Yeah. It's like
I wouldn't even participate in that conversation.
there wasn't much that was going to help them. I couldn't really say anything like, "Are you guys serious?"
Right. Beyond help.
Yeah, it's
So one of you is playing the alpha male here, and you've got to pee all over everybody else. And until you do that, you can't move on to a new topic. Some forums are run that way, where one person has to be right and everybody else is wrong.
Not a very good forum, usually.
No.
I was on one that was kind of like that on some topics.
Yeah. I joined a couple like that, and it's like you're picking on me because I'm the new guy, right? And you want to show off. You want to show that you're in charge.
I've seen that before.
Well,
yeah.
This was more topics. You know, if you didn't agree with the guy who owned the forum, he kind of got stupid. Let's put it that way.
I think I've been on that forum.
Yeah, you were. Not very many times, but you ventured by a few times. Same with Ammon.
I mean,
I think just to push his buttons.
I'm perfectly willing to admit that I don't know everything. And if you've got some statement, you've got some support for it, I'm willing to listen.
Yeah, that's how you learn, bud.
Yeah.
That's practical. I mean,
Yeah, when I was mentoring Bob, that's what happened eventually. I said, look, I'm starting to learn from you. So let's just say we work together. How's that?
So I was mentoring a guy who, before he wanted to learn SEO, he was working as a HTML coder for accessibility purposes. So he's working with sites like the FAA, and he's rewriting their content to make it accessible. He knew a lot about accessibility. I'd teach him something about search engines. He'd pound himself in the head and say, I should have known that.
Oh, yeah. early when I started learning SEO, I quickly figured out a lot of times if you know HTML, that's
Yeah.
a solution that, you should have been able to figure it out by using the tools you had all along.
When you describe like how Googlebot crawls things and what information it collects, people who are building web pages are surprised by that.
Yeah.
They find out, oh, okay, that's why you do a redirect. That's why you have status codes to let those crawlers know what's going on.
I was just arguing with somebody over, they're like telling me going back to the origin is faster than going to the edge for redirect. And I'm like, how is that possible? How do you think that? I'm like, if the origin is 100 yards away from you, hypothetically, a million miles away, and the edge is 100 yards, which is closer? And they're like, the edge. And I'm like, so going farther is quicker? It's the internet. I'm like, oh, sorry, never mind. Internet speed. I'm like, okay. This doesn't break physics. It's still longer. Farther away is still longer.
There were a lot of usability, user experience type arguments we'd run into, or accessibility.
Yeah, I did. Well, I think accessibility is something that has to be top of mind whenever rebuilding websites or doing any work on websites, because the ADA will sue you, or ADA attorneys will actually. I know people who have been sued, and not just for SEO purposes, but for quite a few.
People with disabilities will sue anybody they want to.
Right.
Especially brick and mortar store owners. You don't have handicap parking. You don't have handicap entrances. I've got to walk up a step to get into your store. That's not built for me. I can't go shopping at your store.
Yep. And there are attorneys that are not disabled that just, I think, do it on behalf of making money.
The people who wrote the laws should have wrote the laws the way they wrote them for the SEC, where they're letting attorneys get bounties on sites.
Yeah.
It's like if you're an SEC attorney, you sue companies because they're not following SEC law.
Not for a
and you
payday.
you can win a bounty. Well, they should do that with accessibility issues, where they're letting the attorneys sue companies.
I think they are doing that. I think they're doing something similar to that.
If you leave it to plaintiffs to choose who they're going to sue, you get really unevenly distributed legal actions.
Yeah, that's very true. Yeah, nothing works as designed.
I'm going to sue Domino's, but I'm not going to sue Pizza Hut.
Right. No, you're exactly right, actually. And it doesn't benefit anyone.
Because I like the thin crust toppings.
I don't want them to cut me off.
The web core vitals and accessibility is a piece of that as well. So it won't be just that you'll get sued. It'll be you will have incurred the wrath of the Google. So
yeah.
I if anyone's using Shopify, I have to say something. I just with one plugin, with a couple of plugins, increased Google's web core web vital score by 65 points today. And the name of that app I will find for you right now. But I just thought I should share it with everyone because I never believed this would be possible. And it's honestly something that if you're using Shopify, I promise you, it's got a 7-day trial. I have nothing to gain by sharing this, but it's called Core Web Vitals Booster. So the app is called Core Web Vitals Booster, and it's by Speedy End, Speed IEN.
How
And
much was that?
It's $9 a month after a 7-day free trial. But it's got
$9 a month, a subscription.
But if you've got a score of 30 on mobile and you've got a 92 after, hey, it's worth it. Like Shopify only allows you to do so many things. You can't do what you can do on WordPress and things like
there
that.
we go. There's the problem number one, Shopify.
It is. It's the root problem. But at the same time, like, you know, if you've built a site there, I'll put a link to it in the thing. But I have, like I said, I have nothing to gain from this. Read the reviews, and if you are a Shopify site user, Shopify does make a great e-commerce platform. I have to admit, for a lot of things, but it's very restrictive on Plus, and this thing was amazing. And I normally wouldn't bring up a tool like that unless it really hit it out of the park.
It's been a slow development over time, some of these different CMSs for e-commerce.
Big time. In fact, like Shopify 2.0 and Hydrogen, they're about to have something very quick, Hydrogen and Oxygen, where they're going to put everything on React and then basically make it all load over a content delivery network, which is it's not out yet, but it's coming out in October, I think.
I remember building a lot of sites on Magneto.
Oh yeah, yep, yeah.
Magento?
I mean, Magento.
Magenta, yeah.
Magneto wasn't one I remember.
It was Magenta, but yeah.
Yeah, the worst part of that was the only way you could input data was one item at a time. It was a favorite of Indian developers for that.
Magento's now gone over to their self-hosted like Shopify, so they're even more restrictive than remember, like used to be able to.
I'm sure they will, but it's still a proprietary deal.
Yeah.
Meaning, if they go out of business, you're out of business too.
That's very true. Yeah, if that company were to fall in hard times, that would be bad luck for everyone.
I personally, I have never seen the advantage to being on Shopify. If you're someone who has no HTML programming or any other skills, then use Shopify.
The automation in
Otherwise,
Shopify
you're tying your hands when you get on that platform.
Shopify Plus and Shopify, I think, are very different. Like Shopify Plus,
Shopify is Shopify.
Sort of. I like Shopify Plus is very automated. It would save us a lot of hours in the back end for the company, the manufacturer, or the seller, in some cases.
Like
not
to be honest, this isn't even a discussion I want to have.
No, I
the value of Shopify, I don't see any. Period.
Right. No, I understand.
Unless you're someone who has no skills whatsoever. Sorry.
No, hey, I'd rather use WooCommerce for everything anyway, too.
Well, I'm going to tell you what I'm thinking. I'm not going to be,
I value that, actually. Like, I really do. But when I see clients choose Shopify, they actually do it based on automation saving their time.
So I have a question for you all. It goes back to Terry's news. So no follow links. No follow at one point in time, Google came out with an announcement that said, we've got new attributes we're using. You don't have to use no follow all the time. You can use UCG or you can use sponsored.
The same but different.
When they came out with that announcement, they didn't say you have to use them.
No.
And they're reminding us of that now.
Right.
So is anybody using sponsored or UCG links?
I am.
I did it once, but then I just went back to no follow.
Seriously, it either is or it isn't. And if you're saying it isn't by using no follow, right?
Yeah.
Then you're actually breaking the law because that's against the law.
I linked to
law.
somebody. I linked to somebody I didn't want to give
Yeah.
my page rank to. And I use
Sponsored links and not labeling them as such is against the law.
Yeah, I agree with that. They should be labeled. Yeah.
FTC. That's
But-
the FTC. That's
Right, but
against
if
the
it's in
law.
HTML on the page, though, you agree that that's okay too.
Yeah, should have
Yeah.
both. That's what I do. I use the proper notate. Well, I don't know if I am presently, but next time I look at the coding, that'll be one of the things I'll update.
Okay,
Because
but
to me, it's a directive, right? When they go from no follow, which is, well, we don't really know what's going on with no follow. You're basically saying, I don't know what's up with this site, so I don't want to pass use or anything, right? But when you say this is user generated or this is a sponsored link, that's a directive. You're telling them
they
this is
changed
sponsored
that
and this
part
is
of it too,
UGC.
though. They changed that part of it too, though. They said we're going from being directives to being hints. You're not telling the search engine anymore, this is the way it is. You're telling them, this is our hint to you. Decide what you want to do.
Okay, to me, no follow is a hint, and the other two are actually directives.
Right. When
You're giving them-
when Google came out with the announcement, they said this is no longer a directive. This is a hint.
So all three are just a hint
All three are just a hint.
All three
Yeah.
are just.
for now.
It's what they officially said.
Yeah, but how many times have they said, use the 302 because if you don't want to use no follow, use the 302 because we don't put any value on
They
that.
didn't say
That changed
they
then.
they didn't ever say use the 302. They
Pardon
said
me?
this, they did not ever say Google did not ever say use the 302.
Yes, they did.
Google, in the form of Gary, talking about a change.
No, if
From
you
no
look in
follow.
the announcement, it actually says if you don't want to use.
I was
No
at PubCon.
follow.
I was at PubCon when Gary made that announcement.
Well, this was before he was even on the scene.
This is when the UCG and the sponsored appeared.
Okay, I'm talking
He
about
was
when
on
they,
he was on the scene for that.
when they first introduced no follow. They said you can do it two ways. You can
Back
use
back
no
in
follow
back
or
in
a 302.
2005, right?
Right, that's what I'm saying, Bill. So they do change it, right?
So
And
when they changed over to add the UCG or the sponsored, Gary made that announcement at PubCon, and he said we're no longer requiring that this be a directive. It's now no follow. If you use, it's now a hint. if
they're
you
all
use
hints.
no follow.
None
They're
of
all
them
hints.
are
Right.
right. So in other words, if you use these three terms, we're going to do whatever we want, and we're not going to really tell you which way we're going.
Which
It's
is
what makes no
which is
sense.
exactly what the news was. We're going to do whatever we want. If we
Right.
want to link, we're going to
So
link.
if we want to
don't wanna
comment, we will. If we don't,
yeah,
we won't.
yeah,
But all I'm saying, right, is
yeah.
they may look at that in the future and say, look, if you're actually telling us what is sponsored, that's a better hint than using no follow. You understand what I'm saying?
now
Bill?
now it's all in their discretion.
Pardon me?
Now it's all in their discretion. They can decide that on their own. They don't have
Right.
to get permission.
Right. But I'm just saying there could be extra value in using the proper terms because of the stronger signal that you are sending when you use UGC or a sponsor.
I
And
think
then-
Google categorizes everything already. So like they're already labeling the links and categorizing them themselves. So they probably already know if it's a
Well,
They're not categorizing
when they
them
came
based
out with
on whether it's follow or no follow. They're categorizing it by topic.
when they came out with this UCG and the sponsor, they said all three of them are going to be hints.
Yeah.
Okay.
So they were very clear on that. It's like they wanted control. What Gary said was when they first introduced no follow and made a directive, they were giving site owners control over what gets done with those links.
Oh, whether they actually followed the link or not.
And he said, we're taking it back.
Okay.
We're taking that control back. We want it to be a hint.
Right.
So it's no longer a directive.
Well,
So if you use
no
no follow,
follow is
if you
always
use if you
hint.
use no if you use no follow, we can decide whether or not to actually follow it or not.
Well, they were doing that before the announcement anyhow, in my opinion.
Right, but he made the claim, the statement at PubCon that they were being honest with search owners.
Okay.
They were putting it on the table. They were saying it's our choice.
Yeah. To me, it's not a big deal. Before there was even no follow, I labeled everything sponsored on any site I was doing if it was sponsored.
I remember putting a no follow attribute on one link. And only one link. I linked to somebody I didn't want to give any page rank to.
Thanks again for that.
Yeah, but the only way you can really do that is to not link because Google decided whether that was going to count or not.
Well, at that point, it was still the directive, so it was still them saying they would link if I said, or them saying they wouldn't follow if I said no follow.
Yeah. See, but in my opinion, no follow never meant no follow. It meant, I'm suggesting no follow, but I realize you're going to do whatever the hell you want anyway.
Those after sites like Forbes and Wikipedia decided to no follow all links.
Right.
And Google said, we didn't expect that.
Yeah, that's what I mean. That's when they had to say, oh, we didn't realize that people were going to take the easy way and just no follow everything. That way they didn't have to worry about it.
Yeah. And if that case, if you're going to delegate the authority to us, we'll take it. If you don't want to make a decision, we'll decide. We have no problem with that.
Yeah. See, but in my opinion, right, when you put sponsored or UGC,
yeah,
you're telling them directly, this is my intent. Like, it's almost like a directive from you. Yeah, this is sponsored. I'm telling you, someone paid me to put this link here.
Yeah.
Yeah, you can help them find.
If you get a site that's built by users of the site, like a UCG site, like Wikipedia, why not label it UCG?
Right.
Yeah.
They know it anyhow. It's not like they're state secrets. That one look from an engineer and he's going to say, "Hey, this is all user-generated content."
Yeah.
They want to decide what goes into the link graph and what doesn't. That's the bottom line.
And the more hints we give them with sponsored or UCG, more unnatural links they can find, patterns, things like that, if everyone's doing it.
Yeah.
See, UCG is saying, yeah, this is user-generated content. It's not saying, I'm not sure about this link, so, don't count it or don't follow it.
Oh, I agree.
So to me, it is more of a directive. I don't care. They can call it whatever they want. But to me, it's a directive. You're telling them directly, this is what it is.
And it's clear that if you're on Twitter and you link to something, that's a user-generated content link.
There goes all my backlinks.
And if
to me, it's just the usual Googleese when they say, "Oh no, they're all hints now," because even when they were, we said it was a directive, it was actually never more than a hint.
And Google's not paying attention in terms of page rank to Twitter. They don't
Oh,
really,
yeah.
they don't really rank tweets using PageRank.
Look, to me,
Not at all.
the lengths to which they're going to explain their ranking results
Yeah.
is unprecedented. Like every week you see an article of some Googler that has said, oh, to rank, say, for instance, a product page, do this, this, and this, right?
Yeah.
To get this, do this. That's 3 weeks in a row now, Bill. We've had a post from a Googler saying this is how we rank this stuff. And there's another one lower down that talks about featured snippets and universal results.
Yeah.
So they're getting very transparent. And that could be what this is all just a hint thing is about too. Total transparency.
So some of the stuff is really needed. For instance, when they have a blog post about Black Friday or Cyber Monday, and they say, don't create a new Black Friday page every year.
Right.
Create just one Black Friday page. Write on it, Black Friday on 2021 will be celebrated this day.
But what SEO is changing that? I mean, you're breaking all the links to your probably main page at that time.
Well, you always have one Black Friday page on your website.
I had one that was just devoted to specials that changed all the time, constantly.
Right. It's like the World Wide Web Consortium had the www1, www2, www3.com conferences, a separate site for each conference. It's like, why the hell are you doing that?
Right. If you have one Black Friday page, it just says Black Friday instead of the date inside the URL and things like that. You can link to it all.
Right.
Every year.
Also the same as when you set up a subdomain, right? Once again, you're actually increasing the amount of work it takes to rank that website rather than putting it on an existing website.
Exactly.
Because you're starting from new. You're not getting any benefit from the links already coming to the site and the internal links. That's even more important when you have a large site. Like I worked for a company. When I got on, I looked at this. They had a huge directory of every building in this large network. It was hundreds and hundreds of pages, right? So I looked at it and said, oh, this is just spam. Removed it. Boom. Rankings get hit. And I'm wondering, what the hell? This is garbage content. Then I look and say, oh, there's actually links to this stuff. And all the internal linking from 500 or, all the pages to the home page and to the sub types of offices, it all helped. And as soon as I put that back, rankings went up a little bit. So it wasn't a big move, but it was a move that was, and now I see they've removed the directory again.
People do crazy stuff, yeah.
For me, I didn't even spend a lot of time trying to make it look nice. They were just pages that, gave information. A few images of the buildings and, short write-up, all coming out of a database that was never updated. It was actually, I had the database set to read only.
Right. So if an e-commerce website has one Black Friday page and they update that page every year so that it shows a new date, new event, new specials, but all the links go to the one Black Friday page year after year after year. It grows in authority.
Absolutely.
So you want to try and keep your categories, right? that you're putting in your Black Fridays, pretty tight. Like we usually took from the top categories where we had the most margin, or we were selling drum sets every year was a huge one. So they were right at the top to the point.
So you have one Christmas page, you have one Valentine's Day page. You don't change them every year.
Yeah. Even for me with the products.
Yeah.
With guitars and stuff like that, Gibson's often, you can't buy a model of a guitar anywhere in North America. It's just not available anywhere. So you get a lot of pre-orders. So we left those pages up with links to other similar Gibson.
Get them in, and then what you can buy now.
Yeah. It's actually in related products. So for instance, on a Gibson, we would try and find, Ibanez or there's another company that was part of Gibson, really older company, Epiphone. And we featured them as well because it was usually, it's almost the exact same guitar, but cheaper. With cheaper components.
And you can buy it if you need a guitar right then, and you don't want to pay for the Gibson. You're miring the Gibson. You can pay for the.
I think BB King played an Epiphone and not the Gibson model. So there's a lot. That was pretty cool.
And you had to have a Martin page for those guys who play acoustic guitars.
Right, Martin, and they're same thing because the more custom guitars become, the harder it is to keep them in stock because they only run each kind every so often, right?
Yeah.
So it was very important because you would get a lot of pre-orders that way too. If people realize, I can pre-order it here. And when we get a pre-order, we add our amount that we're getting from the company.
So data quality is an important part of SEO and knowing how to categorize your stuff.
Just picking the right products to feature and that kind of stuff. That's part of SEO.
You don't have 7 million products and choose horse liniment.
Right.
One of the top
horse
7
liniment on your homepage.
They did ask me though, what do you think of SEO? How would you rank it?
Could have given them a 2.5. No.
They deserved a 2.
I mean, that's what
you were probably giving them the benefit of the doubt with it too.
I was giving them a chance to not choose me as their SEO.
Yeah, there's some jobs you realize I really don't want this, so I'm gonna take this right now.
Oh yeah, I've got some of those before.
I've had a few that.
Suddenly
I got not too much work. Sorry.
One of their founders was a former Google employee.
Ooh,
really?
And I recognize the name. It's like, you designed this? You're asking me how good the SEO is? That's a question people ask. People SEOs are trying to hire.
Yeah, how much? Where did you actually work in Google in the cafeteria?
Yeah, were you the janitor?
Yeah, that's amazing that they could not see the opportunity there themselves, or put wherever the highest margin is there.
You don't feature horse liniment on your 7 million product website.
Yeah, no.
Choose something people buy.
Buy a wheel with a stick that you hit,
Choose something that people have some interest in.
Like hats for cats. That's, no brainer.
Yeah.
No, I'm just kidding. It is interesting, yeah. No.
I mean, a bottle of aspirin would outsell that stuff.
Oh, yeah. It's useful. You can use it. And out of 7 million products, they must have had a little bit of everything. So I imagine, yeah, like you were saying, a TV or any electronic. I mean, electronics tend to have high margins and sell very
Right.
well. But 7 million, gosh! You just look at the analytics, look at the revenue, boom.
Yeah.
Um,
I mean, a CD boombox player, right?
yeah, so whatever's selling for the most money, they're getting the most revenue, and they can actually keep in stock. Yeah,
What's this horse limit stuff do?
I
You
forgot.
don't want your clients asking what your featured products do.
Yeah, there's like 6 people that'll ever see the site that know what that stuff does and wants it. They're your main yeah. I mean, it's amazing. Yeah, I worked for a site that had a little bit of everything, and it was all. I mean, the real moneymakers were laptops and tech product, or more electronics. But
So Terry, I saw this title to an article that you included. You may get some ranking benefit if someone steals your original images.
nice.
Yeah.
I'm in for it.
I
Yeah.
remember
See how unless they're
Yeah.
actually linking to your site and stealing them right out.
I remember incorporation business I wrote, and I had 50 state pages, so I had state flags for each of the pages, and one of them was Alabama, and somebody joined a game forum.
And used your
They
Alabama flag.
used my Alabama flag as an avatar, so the picture was getting hit like 50,000 times a day. So I did one of those where I changed the picture with the pornographic picture.
Sorry.
Because they shouldn't have been hot linking to my image. And I was pissed off over it.
Yeah, you don't want to pay that data.
Well, you don't mind them using the image as much as taking it right off your server and expecting you to pay for the bandwidth.
No, not 50,000 times a day.
No,
Yeah,
not even one time.
Yeah.
I don't care. If you're going to take it and put it on your server. I don't care. Go ahead.
Right. As a little 17K image, you were free to use it. You weren't free to link to it on my server.
Right.
You can put in header rules now to prevent hot linking.
Oh, yeah, you can prevent that through a header.
Yep.
Right,
You can
but they
prevent a lot of stuff. I stopped framing of the website, all kinds of stuff with headers. But then too, I realized afterwards that also means when I'm doing an emulator for phones, say it can't do the thing because it uses a frame.
Yeah, lots of downside.
To frame the site to do the emulation.
Yeah, I was surprised with all those security headers. How like there's a yin and a yang to every one of them.
why do people
but most
frame
of
your
them, you're good to use them. Like anything that the GT metrics suggest you use for security, I'd use them. The benefits outweigh the problems.
now?
or
Why do
issues they
why do
cause.
people frame your site and pass it off as theirs?
Pardon me?
Why do people frame your site and pass it off as theirs?
Oh, in the old days, that was rampant. I mean, that was huge because there weren't too many ways you had to know JavaScript in order to break that.
Yeah, I used to have a JavaScript on every page.
Yeah, that
To,
broke a frame.
Yeah. It made absolutely no sense people were even doing it.
Yeah, DACM them and then sweep their host, but not until you report them to Google first. And then if they're dumb enough to put it up again, say that you're going to sweep the host and then don't, and then report them to Google twice, and they get deranked.
Oh, I worked for a company that was doing local real estate, providing data about the schools and all that stuff. And it was a frame in the page.
Whew.
So it was actually brought in through a frame. That would be causing havoc now, I would assume.
Oh yeah.
It would have must have. Well, nowadays there's no Ajax or any of that kind of baloney. All there was really weak JavaScript to do any kind of manipulation to put it on the page. On a third-party page, it was really tough.
Yeah.
Yeah. You almost have to rebuild it again.
Well, there just wasn't the technology to do it.
Yep.
There's JavaScript, but even that only worked half-assed when you started trying to do from site to site. Yeah, I experimented with all that stuff back in the day. That's why I'm bald.
I remember when Google came out with the patents about using JavaScript, the JavaScript behind Google Maps and the pins and so on the maps.
Yeah.
So they patented use of JavaScript on those.
Really? So no one else could replicate?
Well, could do maps the same way. Because theirs was revolutionary when they come out with maps. The way they displayed the divs on the page. Yeah, that was
amazing.
pretty, that was up there.
Yeah.
As far as, and then when they came out with the appy, it was much easier to do it. Or
Google
API,
Maps
I call it an appy. So.
And their images, their maps were tiles. Lots and lots of tiles.
That's what they're made up of?
Tiles that would fit together. Yeah.
What's everyone's opinion on, I still get asked this every once in a while, is Google Cloud going to go away? And I say no. I say it's too much of a revenue builder for them. I mean, if it ever stops making money, maybe, yeah. But it's one of the biggest hosting companies in the world.
They're providing
what portion of their revenue is it? Less than 10%, I bet.
They're providing reasons for people to use cloud. So you want to use our special chips for machine learning. You can host cloud and use those chips.
Yeah.
Yeah. Hopefully we'll be able to get those time crystals.
I don't know that they have the quantum mechanic computers online yet in the cloud.
I actually have an article on
cloud themselves. That's a service that they're less likely to get out of because they need the infrastructure anyways.
Yeah, they've built it already.
They're not going to drop support for it.
Yeah, that's what I think too.
And that's with Google. Whenever you use the Google product, that should be the first thing that you decide. Is this sustainable? Are they going to keep, why would they keep providing this service, right, for free, right? The only one I've seen so far that I'm fairly confident is analytics and the feeds. I figured that you'd never pay for the feeds.
Sometimes the services surprise them.
Yeah.
Like they didn't expect the success behind Orchid. Orchid, for some reason, did very, very well in India. They were doing much more social networking in India on Orchid than anywhere else in the world.
But what was the competition when that came out compared to when Google Plus came out?
The competition had grown a lot.
Yeah. If I remember, that came out just shortly after Facebook started to make a name for itself, right?
Those after
Google saying, "Oh, there might be a future for this. Let's try this."
Those after Facebook lost the hot or not buttons.
Yeah, anytime anything is even moderately successful, Google is going to try it too, because basically that's how they got to where they are right now, because somebody else was doing BBC before them, right? They just come along and did it a lot better. And basically, nobody's been able to touch them since. Like if you see their portion of the ad market, it's like,
everything. Yeah,
it's not everything, but
it's almost everything.
Everything they want.
Yeah.
If they wanted it, they'd have it.
Yeah.
They're integrating advertisement with non-advertising type things. They're augmenting them. Like they're building site maps into ads. They're building local search into ads. So you can have maps and things like that.
Edge?
Smart.
No, Google is. Google is augmenting advertisements with non-advertised search features.
Why not create a synergy? Use what you got.
Wow.
So you can have.
Unfortunately, Microsoft has beat them to the game a long time ago, and I can tell you it's annoying as hell.
So you can have paid knowledge panels, maybe at some point in the future, at Google.
I wouldn't be surprised. I wouldn't be surprised. I think Chrome is one of the other things that will stay free because they want the data to go on the websites.
They've got some entities where they have advertisements in the knowledge panels for singers and performers, playwrights, where you can watch live streaming, and you can subscribe to certain services right in the knowledge panels. So they're having people bid on intent after naming the entity.
Well, I think it'd be cool if in the knowledge panel, if say the Eagles were playing in Toronto, and I could go to the knowledge panel and buy the tickets right there.
And you probably should be able to.
And I wouldn't care if the Eagles were paying Google for the right to do that. Right? I could care less.
Right.
And probably click it more.
We just got a question saying, does anyone here think there's an inflection point where the users will experience difficulty between distinguishing what's an ad and stop using the service as a result?
We know FTC warned Google about advertisements in search results and said you have to mark them. Yeah,
there was a point where you couldn't tell what was an ad on the search results, and it didn't hurt at all. In fact, they just sold more ads. It's all
they used to highlight the ads with the yellow background.
Yeah.
And they moved that over to a label, a small ads in front of the advertisements.
I asked my father to determine what's an ad on mobile. He can't. He can't tell me.
I'm sorry, what was the question?
Oh, I asked my dad to determine what's an ad on mobile on an iPhone. He had no idea. No idea. So I think that they're labeling under their own rules, and they don't.
It didn't say ad right beside the list.
It did, but he's older. He didn't really look that closely.
Because that's not what people look at. They look at the link and don't even see anything else.
Exactly.
Because they have the attention span.
Each of the search engines was a little bit different. So Bing has a slightly different way of doing that than Ask. And Yahoo had a different way of doing it than Google.
Hmm.
But you could see sometimes Ask would have like 4 or 5 ads at the top of search results, 10 organic results, and then 4 or 5 ads at the bottom. It's like just as many ads as there were organic results.
Yeah, you don't see that much anymore. The ads at the bottom, probably because no one wanted to buy them.
But you do see some ads at the bottom now.
Oh,
every once in a while, yeah.
You do still, yeah.
I don't remember seeing them, but it could be that I just ignore them all anyway. So
you probably have to scroll down to the bottom, Terry.
no, I scroll down to the bottom and I don't.
I haven't seen any at the bottom either, so I'm with you.
Yeah. See, I remember when they were using a background color that I swore there was no way you could tell ads from the organic results. None whatsoever. That's when the FT or whoever goes after him for that stuff said, hey, you can't do that. You got to start putting ad right beside it.
Like the 2003 or 2004 letter from the FTC that said, stop, we're watching you.
Google uses it as toilet paper.
Stop now or coming. And that's probably the only thing that the government is afraid of. Is the FTC and the DOJ. They're probably the only entities that Google is afraid of.
The Europeans have had the best luck getting.
Oh, and the Europeans, it's the tax people.
Yeah.
I did get a phone call one day from the FTC, and it started out with, "Can you tell us the difference between ads and non-ads?"
I don't want to answer that question.
And they were completely serious. And I spent an hour or so with them.
And they about web ads, PPC. Yeah. Wow.
No, for PPC, it was the FTC. Yeah.
Wow.
So they were asking what you thought of the results that you were seeing and how a user may see that as well.
Pretty much, yeah.
Yeah. See, for me, as I've gotten older, I've realized how big a difference getting older and your eyesight changes how things look to you. Like when I was younger, I would have picked that up right away. Now I miss all kinds of stuff. I don't know.
You mean those two little letters, AD for ad?
Oh, I picked that
up.
But I mean,
in gray instead of white.
When I was doing the web core values, I kept getting these things that said, foreground is the contrast is not any good. Well, it looks fine to me. Well, the margin of error is such that the only way I do it now is when I choose colors, I go to a site that tells me these colors will pass the accessibility contact. I don't just go by my own eyesight anymore. As bad as it is.
IBM Equal Access Accessibility Checker is a great tool for that.
I have another site I go to that's just for accessibility. And they actually have a thing that shows you the colors you have and what you have to change so that it'll work.
Yeah, these sound very similar. This is just IBM's accessibility tool, and it's a great feature though.
We're at the top of the hour, a little bit past it. So, and say thank you to everybody watching. Appreciate you watching this. Take care. We'll see you.
Thanks, everyone.
Thank you.
We'll be back. We hope you are too. Bye now.
All right.